Row, row, row the boat with your cookies. There's a boat that's in my way and I can't get out of my nether tunnel. What's up everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the build comp here in Terra Nova. In the last episode, I figured out where I was going to build, got a snow farm and an iron farm, and some other basics out of the way. And now it is time to go to the end. And really, I usually just start in the end. I usually don't build anything and just speedrun the end as fast as I possibly can. Because to me, anything that you do without max enchantments is just a wasted effort. But this is what I'm going to bring to the end, tons of snow. I do have the elytra that Naughty gave me, but I'm going to try not to use it. We're going to do this as like a vanilla run, where we just bring a crafting table, wood, cobblestone, and food. And then pillaring blocks, of course. And normally I wouldn't bring as many pillaring blocks, but I'm going to assume that the end is pretty rated, because this realm is a little older. The main reason that I tend to run naked and screaming into the end, which is the bare minimum, is 9 times out of 10 when I die in the end, it's because the game glitches and just teleports you down into the void. Especially with the portals, I usually just avoid the portals altogether. Because as I'm sure you know, these portals like to kill you, so I always bridge out to the outer islands. And even though it takes like 1,000 blocks to do so, once it's built, I can then just avoid the portals forever and ever. So it's time to hold my breath and hope for the best. But at least even if it does teleport me down into the void, I won't actually lose anything. And it actually worked, thank you so much. We are now at the outer islands. Time to collect some chorus fruit for some emergency food and emergency teleporting, and then start our journey bridging out to various places and just kind of hoping that no one else went this direction. Now, one thing about the end and recording for content is that if I start looking at cities to show you things, Endermen are going to teleport or spawn in front of my crosshair and then try to kill me. So not gonna lie, that is super duper frustrating. Even though I'm trying to record, I kind of just have to stare at the ground. And that's the thing about the end, is it's actually the safest place to be. I mean, if you just stare at the ground, the Endermen will never attack you. And then shulkers basically can only kill you if you die from fall damage. But all of these plants that grow in the end that drop chorus fruit will teleport you back down to the ground, so you shouldn't ever die from fall damage. So the end is actually like the safest place to go, except for glitchy nonsense in the void. But I finally found an end city that has not been raided. At least the initial shulkers on the front door are alive and well. Now, I do usually aggro Endermen when I kill these shulkers here on the front, so I'm going to build a little Enderman safety area out of snow. Now, generally, I don't kill shulkers until I have looting. I'll save them and leave them alone so that if I ever want to build a shulker farm, they will be there for next time. But in this case, I kind of brought too much snow with me. So since I brought too much snow, I really want a box. And luckily, these first 2 shulkers that I killed each dropped a shell, so I can craft me my very first shulker box from the chest that I got from pre-looted cities. You know, people tend to leave those chests behind, whereas I always pick them up so that I can craft shulker boxes along the way. Now, these tubes can be super duper dangerous if you don't have any armor. So the first tube that I come across, if I don't have armor yet, I tend to just pillar up around it and not go through the middle of the tube. That way I can grab some gear out of the chest that's above the tube and then kind of fight my way back down. And boom, right there we got our looting sword in the very first unlooted city that we came across. That is huge. That means that I can now kill all the shulkers that I come across without feeling like I'm wasting anything. And this tube is pretty small, so we can just go ahead and smash out all of these shulkers. Now, I don't have wings yet, so I kind of can't float back down, which is sad. So I do got to remember to either pillar up or use some chorus fruit. The fruit is basically guaranteed to save your life if you're floating up, and away, and you don't have wings yet, so you can't float back down on your own. But it's not always cool to teleport all the way to the ground, like chorus fruit likes to do. So a lot of times I will just pillar up and try to land on that instead if I don't have wings. Oh, but look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. Some glitchy rubber bandy nonsense makes my bridge just vanish under my feet. And now I'm dead. Lost my looting sword, lost my diamonds, lost my first shulker box, all the shells I've collected. But I mean, really, did I lose anything at all? I did gain all of that stuff from the first city I came across anyway, so technically, all I really lost was wood, cobble, and snow, which is all pretty trash anyway. But I kept exploring back the direction I had gone, was very careful about bridging out, took forever just to bridge over the void, but this time I managed to find an inn ship, which is why I pillared up. I didn't want to teleport all the way back to the ground from eating chorus fruit, so I just pillared up to survive the shulkers, and now I can get my wings. Which also means that I won't have to pillar over the void as much, so hopefully we can avoid some glitchy nonsense. So woohoo, this is my very first wings that I collected myself. Let's see what else we got. It looks like a bunch of trash, but that's okay. We got wings, and that is the important part. Now we just need to find a city that has some inn chests, so I can save my progress this time. Because especially times like this, where I'm pillaring out but aiming at a place where Endermen can teleport to or spawn, you know, that's very sketchy. I have died like that a few times, where Endermen teleport into your crosshair, then teleport onto your bridge, and that's pretty bad. You know, you definitely want to avoid those situations. But at least I finally got some wings, so now I can efficiently fight the shulkers. You know, if you press jump or fly while you're floating because of the shulkers, if you have wings equipped, you start flying or floating back down. And so that makes these tubes like super easy just to go around killing all the shulker boxes left and right. You know, getting tons and tons of shells pretty quickly. It also helps you to avoid having to eat chorus fruit and accidentally teleporting back down to the ground. But my next objective is I really need to find some inn chests and a silk touch pick. That way I can save my progress as I go along. And this looks pretty good because I see 3 inn cities, 1 in each direction. And that one over there definitely has an inn chest. So the inn chests are in the buildings that have 3 stories. It looks like the very first bottommost building, how that one has 3 stories. All of those buildings up in the sky have inn chests in them. So even if you can't find a silk touch pick, you can look at those rooms as if they're save spots. Like you can loot the rest of the city first, then go to these rooms that have 3 stories and an inn chest, and dump all of the loot you gained into the inn chest before you leave. That way, even if you die, really the only thing you lose is a pair of wings. And I mean, really, wings are super crazy common. You can get, 20 of them in no time, especially once you have wings, especially if you brought rockets with you too. But I finally have a silk touch pick and my very first inn chest. So once you manage to get a silk touch pick and can carry inn chests around with you, well, now you can save your progress at any time, dumping in all valuable items into your inn chest. I would recommend just sticking with crappy iron gear and a crappy iron sword, and preferably an iron pickaxe with silk touch, or cursed gear, either one, so that if you do die, the only thing you lose of value is wings, but again, are wings even valuable? I mean, there are guaranteed wings in every single inn ship, all over the place. But either way, again, when you're going to the end, things to look out for is first, grab your wings so that you can efficiently fight shulkers, find a looting sword so that you can benefit from fighting the said shulkers, then you want to find a silk touch pick, just desperately want to find that, so that you can start carrying around inn chests with you. But until then, just keep an eye out for the 3-story rooms, so that you can save your progress and dump all of your valuables in there every time you come across one. It's also super beneficial to carry the potions of healing that you get from the inn ships, along with some chorus fruit in your hotbar, so that when you're fighting these giant tubes of shulkers, you can use the chorus fruit as an emergency escape, or you can use the healing potions to keep you alive. But I am officially out of food. This happens to me every time I come to the end, because I don't have like looting and flame stuff on my sword to get lots and lots of food. So I never have good food going to the end, and I end up living off of chorus fruit, which is doable, but pretty annoying since they have really low saturation. But also, when flying around with brand new wings, it's really important to check those wings before you fly. I've died so many times because my wings broke and I fell into the void. Especially because the wings don't have unbreaking, so they break surprisingly fast. Now I am kind of sketched out by the chunks not loading. This is making me super nervous. And oh yeah, see, I just rubber banded really, really bad. That is terrifying. I really don't want to glitch into the void, you know, please just let me land, And now I'm worried that I looked at an Enderman because I spun around and lost my momentum, and this is just so scary, all this glitchy nonsense. To be fair, it's not as much glitchy nonsense as it is laggy nonsense, from players building crazy farms, or even playing with their render distance set too high. Just be sure when you're playing on multiplayer not to set your render distance above 20. That does affect other people. But this is a really good example of, can you survive off of just chorus fruit? Totally. You can turn yourself into an Enderman. Yeah. Is it a good idea? No. You know, I've died so many times being stingy with my food in the end, trying to survive off of chorus fruit, and then trying not to eat chorus fruit because I don't want to walk all the way back up the tower. So don't be like me. Remember that you can always come back. Especially with all the loot that you've gained, it should be easier the second time around. But this lag is kind of pissing me off. You know, it's making me waste rockets that I don't have. Like normally, when I come to the end, I only have about 10 to 15 rockets from killing creepers early game. So instead of being dangerous, I'm going to wait for the lag to pass, for players to log off, and I'm going to go ahead and go through my gear, sort it, and merge it on an anvil. Which is something I always do coming to the end, because there's iron everywhere. So you can make you an anvil, use the experience you gain from killing shulkers, and merge the gear that you get in the process. And also, if you don't have rockets, you can always compensate just by pillaring up. You know, you don't have to pillar over the void, you can pillar up by like 20 blocks and then just float over the void. Now, times that I do want to spend a rocket is generally if I can reach an end ship that's like across the void or something. So it's like I can get across the void and I can reach the end ship in one rocket. You know, like that feels worth it to me, so I don't have to worry about pillaring up or out to the ship. But I am getting closer to reaching my goal for this raid. So let's recap of my advice for end raiding. What should you bring? You should bring the bare minimum. Don't bring any gear that you are not willing to lose. You want to bring food, a crafting table, some wood, and probably throw some rockets into an end chest as well. Right after you get here, you want to grab some chorus fruit, or maybe even some ender pearls. If you're comfortable using ender pearls, go for it. The reason I don't grab ender pearls is honestly because I suck with them. But ender pearls can save your life even if you glitch into the void. If you're quick enough, you can toss an ender pearl and just come out of it completely unscathed. So bring some trash blocks to pillar, wood and cobble to make crafting tables and gear if you need it, food, so you don't have to eat chorus fruit all the time, and some rockets, so that when you do finally find wings, you can at least have a couple of rockets to start raiding more and more cities. But like, having a crafting table allows you to craft anvils, to use your experience and merge your gear, allows you to craft shulker boxes, to store all of your gear, and then just keep an eye out for a silk touch pick and looting. But I do believe I am finally done. I am going to eat some food after clearing out my inventory, just to make sure I don't have an invisible shulker box in my inventory. Just keep that bug in mind that your shulker boxes can turn invisible. But now I'm just going to jump into the void because the return portals have a chance of killing you anyway. So why would I spend an hour looking for one when I can just teleport home nice and easy? And with that, my end raid is now complete. I got a bunch of stuff, including almost 6 stacks of shells, 2 stacks of diamonds, a perfect pick, several perfect shovels, and enough other gear that I can merge together to get basically a perfect set of gear as well. Another benefit to end raiding is you have tons of things that you can disenchant, and disenchanting even iron gear gives you tons of experience that you can then use to finish out your enchantments and your combining. And I accomplished my goal of being able to give all the new players who joined for the build competition their very own gift box, fully equipped with a slightly used elytra and an end chest. Those were the 2 main things that I wanted to give all of the new players for free as quickly as possible. Because again, in my personal opinion, wings and an end chest are not something you work up to for late game. They are something that you need to have on day 1. I know that other people have different opinions, but that's just mine. I also gave everyone else in the realm a flower with my name and a reminder to subscribe. Some shameless self-promotion, but who doesn't love gifts even if those gifts are just a named item. All in all, I do believe the raid was successful. I'm going to go ahead and buy some of the books that I'm missing, and rather than actually looking through to see exactly what books I'm missing, I'm going to buy a few extra of like mending and unbreaking, just because, you know, they're nice to have. I'm also going to buy some totems while I'm here, because why not? I always like to have 2 totems, just in case some crazy stuff happens. And plus, 2 for 1 is a good price, so I'm okay with paying that. But what I'm more excited about is these beacons. I've said before, I love beacons. I refuse to dig unless I have beacons and efficiency, and thankfully, I can just buy 4 beacons right here, right now. I don't gotta build any farms, I don't gotta fight the wither. I can just give them my 60 diamonds and take my beacons and go. Which leaves me with 18 diamonds left to spend on some other stuff at some point. And just like that, here at the end of day 3, I now have a perfect set of gear. And even if this was a single player world, where I couldn't buy enchantments and the dragon was still alive, I would still do the same thing. Playing the game without enchantments is brutal, and you can make it to the end within 2 hours of joining any world, if that is your one and only objective. Make some shears and gather some leaves so you can just pillar out to the outer islands without even fighting the dragon. Now, doing it that way will still require you to make an end chest, so that you can pull all of your goodies out that you obtained in the end. But at least that gives you a great foundation, because any ore that you mine, any crops that you harvest without fortune, is just wasted materials, wasted effort. We're like early game food. Food farms suck. Breeding animals is slow. Where once you have looting and fire aspect, you can spend all of 5 minutes killing animals in a plane and just get 5 stacks of fully cooked food in no time at all. Even your armor and mobility, feather falling, depth strider, having wings, having respiration. Just think about how much time is wasted trudging through water without depth strider, or dying because you didn't have feather falling, or mining stone with stone tools without efficiency, or mining ore without fortune. All of these things just boil down to time. You can make it to the end and back with perfect gear in, say, 6 hours. You could build a village trader and trade with them to get perfect gear in, say, 10 hours. Or you can spend 10 hours making an animal breeder and digging with stone tools and still have nothing to show for it. Like there's that old saying that if they gave me an hour to cut down a tree, I would spend 50 minutes sharpening my axe. It's all about time efficiency and what you put your focus on. But there's also what you enjoy and have fun doing. So at the end of the day, it's all up to you. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember that you are totally awesome, but above all, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye.